What's up, guys? This is Greg, episode 6. Man, these go pretty quick. I like the weekly update, the chatting, different guests. This week we have PartyMike. I know a lot of mics. This is PartyMike. We talk about the universe, life, motivation, do what you want to do. I really enjoyed this conversation with him, so I hope you guys enjoy too. If you're liking the podcast, feel free to give me some feedback. That would be awesome. Leave an iTunes review. That'd be sweet. You can, I don't know if I should get a dedicated Facebook or Twitter. I just use Arcade Impossible. Email arcadeimpossible@gmail.com. But either way, I'm enjoying doing this kind of just weekly content, right? Talking about things. So I hope you enjoy. All right. So what's pretty funny is you just put this delay on and then you start talking.
Weird.
So try to say like, I went to the store today and I went shopping.
I went to the store today and I went to shop. Oh, so weird.
You didn't even play that up. You started doing the double thing.
I won't even need any tequila if that's the deal.
No, we're good to go. by the way, we're live and that's a great way to start off a podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
The first one. So, dude, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm living the dream. I got my Las Vegas flask here full of tequila because that's just kind of how I roll. I was in the truck, so I was like, why not bring it in, have a sip here and there, just loosen up a little bit. I took your advice and I watched a couple movies last night. I watched Interstellar.
Oh my God.
And it was good. I liked it. I didn't pick it apart as much as I thought I was going to pick it apart.
Oh, you're one of those guys where you pick it apart? Okay.
Oh yeah. If it has anything to do with time travel or space or anything that, you know, is goofy like that, I suck the fun out of it.
Don't do me like that, Murph. Say bye to me, Murph.
Oh my God. I love watching him talk. Like he talks.
Come on, Murph. You got to say bye to me, Murph.
Like he doesn't like move the top. And it's like kind of like Forrest Gump a little bit. And I'm like, turn it up, Matthew, speak up. I can't hear you.
Enjoyed it.
I did. I did. There's a couple of things I thought they should have done a little differently, but I had a couple questions and I didn't watch it again. I didn't have time. It's 2 hours and 49 minutes.
It is a long movie.
Yeah. I went to Family Video just to be old school. I got one of those calls. Okay, you got a free movie. Sweet. And they didn't have it. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. So I went home and I crossed my fingers and I got Cody to work.
Nice.
And Cody's great. I mean, when it works, and it's just hit or miss. And you get all the way to the point. It's like, okay, I found the movie. Okay, and the stream's working. And then it starts playing. And then it stops. And it's like, oh, you get all excited to watch this movie. Like, haha, it's free. And then it doesn't work.
Right. Yes, that's the price you pay. Even a free movie is not free.
It's kind of like the technology thing. Like if it's free, okay, it's not going to work all the time, or there's going to be some kind of BS you got to deal with it. It was cool. I liked it, so we'll leave it at that. I was kind of waiting for him to get ripped apart. Spoiler alert: if you haven't watched it, it's been out for 4 years, so I guess no worries. But I was kind of waiting for him to get ripped apart when he went into the black hole, and I was like, "Oh, spaghettified and all that."
Well, he did the,
and then he ejected.
Spaghettified.
And he ejected from the spaceship. I was like, "Okay, that's probably the last thing I would do." Going into a black hole. Let's get out of the spaceship.
I'm Matt McConaughey with spaghetti.
Matt McConaughey, Murph. Like,
Come on, Murph.
Come on, Murph. I was like, "Oh, really?" Seriously. And then I really liked one thing I will talk about a little bit more is the robot they had, Tars. Mm-hmm. And at first, he was walking around. I was like, if you haven't seen the movie, it's like basically picture like a giant rectangle, and there's like 4 sections. And he kind of just pivots in different spots. And at first, I thought I was kind of hoking, really, you couldn't have done a better job with this. But then he would go fast, he'd change and he'd shoot around.
He did the roll thing where he split his 4 sections, so he covered 360 and just rolled.
He did. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then he had even smaller parts that come out and do the fine tuning and stuff. And I got a kick out of that. And I really liked the AI that they had. And I got a kick out of the turn the humor down, what percentage you at, and I got a kick out of that.
So the black hole planet they went on, and time goes super fast.
Yeah.
Time, it goes fast. Dude, the cinematics and the ridiculous, the visuals along with the cinematics, it's powerful.
It is very powerful. And you guys will get to know as we talk more. I'm fascinated with anything that has to do with the cosmos or the universe. And, I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube about space. There's a show called Space Time on PBS, and they talk about all kinds of concepts like black holes, what's on the other side.
Space Time on PBS? I've never even heard of that. It's called
Space Time on PBS.
I'm going to check it out.
They're about 12 to 50 minutes long a pop, and it's just some really interesting shit. And they talk about all kinds of stuff like the chance of having intelligent life in the universe, and why haven't we found it yet, and maybe we're the first planet and out of all of the things that is intelligent, which just blows your mind when you look at the scale of the universe.
Are we at like 13 billion years though?
13.8
first in 13 billion.
I don't think statistically we are, but the scope of how big the universe is just, the human mind is not capable, I don't think, of even beginning to understand of how simply gigantic.
Take the speed of light. Think about how fast that is. What is it, 7 times around the Earth in a second?
It takes a light mile photon 8 minutes to get to Earth from the sun.
From the sun. And so you think, like on a cosmic scale, light is slow AF.
It is slow AF. It takes light 100,000 years to cross just our Milky Way galaxy. Just our galaxy.
That Milky Way, though. 100,000 years.
100,000 years just to cross our galaxy. And when you think about like how close the nearest star to us is, it's Alpha Centauri. It's about a little over 4.2, 4.3 light years away. And that may not sound like a lot, but that's it. Like our current rate of travel will take thousands of years.
Yeah.
To get there. And that's just stupid. And then the closest galaxy, Andromeda, is like 25 million light years.
Yeah, and then all those galaxies are in like is it like a local group?
The local group.
Right.
And then I watched a show on scale, just a scale. And it started off with a human.
I love those.
It was just, I'm a numbers guy. I love the numbers. So it went from a human down to the smallest of things, to Planck scale, which is the smallest of things. Like you can't get smaller than a Planck unit, essentially. So for those of you don't know what a Planck unit is, so I'll talk about a Planck unit of time. So they use Planck time, the scientists do, the theoretical physicists, to understand the first moment of creation, essentially, of the Big Bang. They really want to know when from nothing to something. And the scale is so small, like 1 Planck second, if you will, is so small. And they give you a scale. So there's more units of Planck time from zero, the Big Bang, to 1 second than there are seconds from zero to now. That's insane. 13.8 billion years of seconds.
Mind blown.
Mind blown. Seriously, mind blown.
Yeah.
And so they go all the way to the smallest of things, which is cool. And then they go all the way up to the biggest of things. And they keep zooming out and zooming out and zooming out. And they show our star, and then they show hypergiant, and they show the biggest of stars. And like, oh, that's pretty big. And then they back out to our local group and then the local cluster. And you think, oh, that's pretty big. You can't get bigger than that. And like 2 more clicks out, I was like, holy shit. Like,
I have that poster in my office downstairs because I love that. It shows like our solar system back local group and keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I love that poster so much.
It zooms out to the point where it looks, for lack of a better description, like the neurons in your brain. Like if you've ever seen a map of the human network in your head of all the connections, it really looks like a brain, which is kind of weird if you think about it. It's like, okay, so are we just like neurons in some massive thing's brain? Like, what's that all about? And so it gets out like how big, like how wide is the universe? And they've got a pretty good estimate. They think it's about, correct, I'm going to be close here, like 95 billion light years across. So 95 billion.
Oh, because of the way it's stretching out.
The way it's stretching out. And you ask, well, wait a minute, the universe has only been around for 13, 14 billion years. How is it that big? And that's one of the interesting parts. Is called inflation. And essentially it's time and space moving apart at an exponentially faster rate than the speed of light.
Faster than light. Yep.
Faster than light. And there's some theories that light traveled faster in the early cosmos for some reason, which they haven't figured out yet. And it's okay. So the universe is 96 billion. Okay, that's cool. Like there's a lot of people like, well, what's on the edge of the universe? Like what's after that? And we'll never know because you'll never be able to see past it. But the scale, again, how big things are. So that's the known universe, okay, 96 billion light years. They give another scale for the unknown, the universe beyond what we can see. Mm-hmm. And to give a scale, so picture the known universe I just told you about as the size of a golf ball. Okay, the golf ball represents 96 billion light years. That golf ball, you put that in the middle of not the planet anymore, but the dwarf planet Pluto. Put that golf ball in the middle of Pluto, and that's what they think.
Holy crap.
Is the universe.
I didn't know that.
That's, yeah. And I was kind of like, holy shit. Like, makes your day seem small.
It makes like any little problem you have day to day be like,
yes,
come on, you're just full of yourself.
Seriously.
There's so much that's bigger than you that we can't comprehend.
That's you just nailed it. And that's why I'm fascinated by it, because it just really gives you perspective. Like, oh, well, you know, I'm losing my hair here, and I got to lose a couple pounds.
Yeah, I got to change jobs, dude. You don't know.
You don't. Seriously,
you don't know my struggle.
It's all just really silly if you think about all the.
I gained 3 pounds.
So what?
Do you know how upset I am about the universe?
The universe doesn't care about your 3 pounds, fatty.
Just means I got more gravity, Murph.
You do got more gravity.
Murph.
More gravity.
Don't do me like that.
Don't do me like that. Oh my God. I did like their theories in that, kind of get back to the movie about the gravity, which is communicating through dimensions. I thought
transcends time.
Transcends time. And
yes.
I thought they did a pretty good job of describing what a wormhole is, like with the dots in the paper, and you kind of push them together, where you can essentially travel from anywhere, from A to B anywhere, and however long it takes to go through the wormhole. And that's some crazy shit. That's really, I think, if we're going to, as a species, really, I think we need to get over ourselves for one, and really think that, okay, so we're working on cold fusion, right? They're building, it's called a tokamak, and they're building it. It's in France. I think it's in France. So it's a multi-nation deal. It's significantly behind schedule, and it's significantly over budget. But that's the nature of, things you're trying to do a new thing. And they've actually been able to do cold fusion. And the problem is, though, that it took more energy to get the reaction going than they got out of it.
Right.
Which,
because cold fusion is supposed to be like centrifugal motion.
Yeah.
No, wait, did I say that right? Not centrifugal. It's perpetual motion.
Perpetual.
Yeah, not centrifugal.
And basically, a gallon of seawater could power the entire United States for like a day. So I say cold fusion, but it's a misnomer. We're talking about temperatures that are essentially the sun, basically hotter than the surface of the sun. So the way they contain that, there's no physical material on the planet that can withhold that. They use stupid power magnets. These magnets are just ridiculous powered magnets.
They use the field to contain it?
Yep, they use the field to contain the plasma. Yeah.
Magnetic field.
Very powerful stuff. Do you know how big this magnetic field is? Magnets are so cool. I should stick to my braces. It's fun.
No, that's all. I didn't know about this at all. Where are you getting your news from?
That's the thing. I don't watch.
You have Flipboard on your phone?
I don't.
Yeah, Reddit?
I watch YouTube.
YouTube's
and
great.
I sort out my news. I don't watch TV. I don't have TV. It's this huge waste of brain power to watch all the negative bullshit they put on there that really doesn't.
Yeah, I can't be bothered.
I can't be bothered by it. So, do you hear about so and so? No, I didn't.
No.
Hear about so and so? Did you hear about cold fusion? And no. What's cold fusion?
Yeah,
it's more important than all the bullshit they're talking about. So, I think that once we figure out cold fusion, and they have this plant to go online, hopefully in 5 years, and if you research it and you watch and you look at the building of this planet, it's insane. It's huge. It's on the scale of the Large Hadron Collider as far as complicated, what have you. And that's a whole other YouTube or podcast for LHC. But they're fairly certain it's going to work. And it's really just kind of all this effort they're putting into it and the hundreds of billions of dollars. It's kind of just to say, oh, look, it works. And that's it. This is not going to be an actual power generating.
They're not going
commercial.
For the utility of it at all.
It's not even designed. In fact, the one after that is called Demo, and that's going to be an upscaled version of this to put out a small amount of electricity. And the one after that, which they're slated for the end of the century, around the 2080s, is called Proto One, and this
is like theory, hypothesis, and now let's get further in.
Let's get into
Let's see if we can actually do it.
Ramp it up. So hopefully by the end of the century, they have an actual commercial grade cold fusion generating power plant. And once they demonstrate the feasibility of it, honestly, I think that the world is going to get its shit together. I really do, because
I think energy is the biggest problem, or a big problem.
Well, that's a very good question. I do think that if there's free, unlimited power, that essentially you could purify water for the desert at essentially no cost, which would create food, and you wouldn't have the resource struggle for pretty much all of the power, the oil, the petrochemical industry.
We could have universal basic income. Then.
You could have UBC, UBI. Which, for those of you that don't know what that is, essentially, it's not like I hate to use this word.
Transition from humans to get away from just manual labor.
Yes.
So we can concentrate on bigger things and automate with robots, Factorio, all the basic stuff for us.
It basically, the next step in humanity, where you don't want to go to work, don't go to work. Paint something. Compose something, work on the arts, think, go think about stuff and contribute, to
do something for someone else.
Do something for someone else. If you just think about it, if you didn't have to worry about money and at all, like no money in of itself is the whole concept. I guess we're going to get into the money topic now. Let me finish up with that's a whole other podcast.
With cold fusion.
So where I'm going with that is, if we can create cold fusion, once we have the technology down and we have a different type of power supply, we can work on the next level of planetary or interstellar rocketry. Interstellar. Sorry, propulsion. It's really getting from A to B. And one of the other cool concepts is, so cold fusion is the most realistic, this can work next step for humans to generate power. So that's a thing. There are other things that are on the table too, where, have you heard of a Dyson sphere? You know what a Dyson sphere is?
No, I don't know what that is.
A Dyson sphere is essentially a structure that surrounds a star and basically takes all of that star's output and converts it into usable energy.
Oh.
So there's a scale, it's a 1-to-4 scale of a population or a society's ability to harness power. We're almost at a 1. We're about a 0.75, 0.8. And what that means is we are almost able to use all of the available energy sources on our planet. So that's pretty cool. Stage 2 is able to use all of the generatable power in its solar system.
Okay.
So we would use all the sun's output. Which, if you think if we could take all the sun's energy and do a thing with it, we could do a lot of things with that.
Isn't the total energy output of the sun for a second more than we've ever generated our entire humankind,
period,
everything
within like a second? It's just, the scale is exponentially stupid. The next generation, generation 3 on the scale, is a society's or a species' ability to use all of the available energy in its galaxy. So all of the stars, 100 billion or more stars, being able to harness that much energy. Okay, that's stupid. And to take that out to the last level, a generation 4 society is able to essentially use all of the energy in the entire universe. That's obviously out there,
and it hasn't been done yet.
Not as far as we know, essentially, and at least not that we found, I guess. But so cold fusion is the next level of power generation. That the Dyson sphere is not plausible for a lot of reasons. The sheer amount of material that it would take to, we have to basically pirate and eat Mercury, the planet, completely, mine it, and we still would have enough material to create a sphere. So we're talking about a smaller Dyson segments, I guess. Picture giant solar panels that are orbit the sun. So not a completely contained structure, but they orbit.
Okay.
So we would have, basically with AI, we'd have autonomous machines capable of mining Mercury on their own without humans involved to make these panels. Okay.
And they make them and they create the Dyson sphere. This is Factorio.
This is basically Factorio, basically. So it's exponential. So after you get 1, you get 2. After 2, you get 4, 4 and 8, 16. And it goes faster over time because you have more robots making more shit.
Right.
Anyways, once you got that complicated clusterfuck done, okay, so that's not even the end game. I'm talking for the next generation of power. You would take all of those panels and direct them into a common collecting unit to essentially create a black hole. You would use that amount of energy to create a black hole the size of essentially 6 or 7 protons. That's small.
Right. I thought it was
Tiny.
unstable and it's like instantaneously there and gone or something.
They can create them on paper. Theoretical physicists think that they can create a black hole which radiates Hawking radiation from Stephen Hawking, rest in peace. So we would basically manufacture, a black hole. What do you do with that? Well, you would use that as the next level of power generation to fuel spaceships. That you could harness the energy coming off that black hole to power next level propulsion systems that on paper are capable of going up to a tenth, maybe more, the speed of light. So
it's pretty solid.
0.1 C. It's pretty fast. So instead of getting to Mars in how long did it take to get to Mars? Like
8 months or something.
8 months or something like that. You can get there in a couple days, if that. But still, that's still 0.1 the speed of light. We've already said that the speed of light,
right, 1 million years to get across the Milky Way.
It's still stupid slow.
Get out of here.
So where are we at? So if you look at it, so you got cold fusion, then you got the Dyson sphere structure, and then you got the black hole thing. And even with all of that, you're still only going a tenth of the speed of light, which is still slow. So what the fuck? Great. So they're thinking within the next maybe 200-300 years, with the advancement of society, if we don't fucking nuke ourselves or, get hit by an asteroid or have some, stupid plague come get us, if as a species we can get to that point, then we're making those things great. So what's after that? So Star Trek has been a favorite show of mine for a very long time, for a variety of reasons.
Which one's your favorite?
I'm going to have to go with TNG, The Next Generation.
That's Jean-Luc.
That's Jean-Luc. Make it so, bro. Make it so.
Make it so.
And Data. Data is one of my favorite characters. Brent Spiner's character. I've always been fascinated with AI and robots and what have you, but his character is just the best.
I was more a Janeway one, but I didn't watch enough Jean-Luc.
I didn't watch, Jean-Luc's the man. Like, seriously.
He is.
He's the baller. But anyways, Star Trek is responsible for a lot of our technology. Like the cell phones we enjoy right now are an idea that came from a gentleman that was like, wow, I'd really like to be able to communicate with someone without having to have a landline, because he knows how the tap the chest, talk to the spaceship kind of thing. And he pioneered cell phones. So as a result of Star Trek, we have a guy that's thinking outside the box.
Right.
He made cell phones. And to another extent, we're actually working on transporters, molecular transportation. We've been able to move, I don't know if it's atoms or even molecules. I'm not sure which of the two. We've moved stuff from A to B, small stuff. Which is, proof of concept. So they're working on that shit too. Anyways, the warp drive. What is that? Make it so. Warp 9. Okay, great. What does that mean? Well, it's really fast and stuff. Warp 9 is fast. So they're actually working on paper on a thing called the Alcubierre warp drive. And they made fun of this guy back in the day because, it's Star Trek, whatever. And on paper, it's like, it'll work, but we need a lot of energy to make it work. Well, how much energy, sir? Well, all of the energy in the universe. And he's like, well, that's not really plausible anytime soon. So over time, he got the ball rolling. Other smart people took a look at it and they kind of worked the numbers a little bit. And then like, well, we don't really need that much power, but we do need a lot of power, but not all the power in the universe. So it's gone from a scale from just simply unrealistic to, okay, well, that's possible. So that's where the black hole power unit comes into play, is that we take that and we scale that up on a factor of 100, which is stupid big, and use that to essentially bend space-time.
Right, you like bend it in front of the ship.
You push through it. Basically, you distort space-time. What you compress what's in front of you, and you expand what's behind you. And you can basically go from A to B, A here, and B, let's say, the next, galaxy, Andromeda, almost instantly. And you would feel no acceleration. You wouldn't be.
Is that like an exponential acceleration thing?
It's
kind of thing.
You essentially don't move. You would be in the spaceship. One of the things that always interested me on
all the space around you
moves. And I was always trying to figure out in Star Trek why, if you're in a car, a fast car, and someone floors you, you're pushed against the back of the seat, and the fighter pilots wear compression suits. Inertia. You pass out. I was always trying to figure out, if you go from 0 to warp 9, why they aren't stains on the back of, the spaceship. They have, inertial dampeners or whatever bullshit that they had to get around that. But you're not accelerating. You're not moving really.
That's pretty awesome.
That's stupid awesome. Think about it. You're warping the fabric of our universe to get somewhere. And that's really next level. Like that's so far down the line of like where we're at now, but it's possible to get there. And I think that's what's fascinating. If we just,
so you're moving everything else around you. What happens to a planet in front of you?
The how you navigate, how you
so you'd still run into that.
I have no idea how they're going to get around. Dropping GPS coordinates in there and how
we
long.
Can figure out maps if we got warp drives.
Google Maps, like Google Universe Maps kind of do. I'm sure there's going to be trial and error with that, like anything else in this world. I'm sure,
right.
Lots of people are going to get screwed.
You're going to have cosmic radiation going through you at the speed of faster than light.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, exactly. You're going to cross the universe. Are you going to soak up
the universe and all that radiation from A to B goes through you?
Yeah. What does that do? Yeah. Let's send some dogs first. Sorry, guys, but that's
you get super cancer.
Maybe we'll have talking dogs or something. We'll probably send AI. Honestly, we would send robots most likely to do that with.
I think we will be robots, right? Biology itself, super flawed. Like our lifespan's so short, and this is kind of dumb. Like how many resources how much meat do I have to eat as a human in my life to survive?
Yeah.
And vegetables, like the waste of energy, right? Like energy never fully goes away, but I need like 4 times the amount just to sustain myself. Yeah. And the rest is gone through heat and poop and everything else. But it's still like we got to be more efficient.
We do. And that's a great segue because, that's about the end of that conversation with the traveling through space and what have you. But you're absolutely right. The whole global warming thing, for one, if you deny it, you're kind of a fool because it's happening. Whether or not we're creating it all on our own, we don't know. Maybe it's a recurring theme. We just don't know. But it's happening. You can see it. And at first, someone told me many years ago that, it's cow farts. It's the methane. And it's whatever. But that's legit. They did a lot. These smart people, these scientists, they did some more factoring, and they think that the actual chickens and livestock that Americans eat contributes over 25% to the actual global warming of the entire planet.
It's like the factory farming thing, right?
It's the monocropping. It's our industry where we monocrop, which is basically the mega farms, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 acre farms that have absolutely devastated the small farmer. They can't compete with that. They don't get subsidies until they get to be stupid big, which is backwards, completely backwards. You don't need to subsidize a mega farm, but that's how it works.
Right.
To encourage mega farming.
We have Walmart farms.
We do, which is interesting because that's exactly what Interstellar was talking about. Like all the people were farmers. I'm like, oh, that's silly.
Right.
But anyways, we spend so much energy in fertilizer and land to make a crop to feed to an animal to eat that animal.
Right. Take the total cost of that animal that you eat. That's a lot.
It's a lot. Okay, a cheeseburger is like a couple bucks, no big deal. But the scope of all of that times 350 million people in our country is ridiculous. And
it is. Dude, you know what I was thinking about the other day? Fossil fuels, like gas and petroleum and all that. Is that really all just old life, like dinosaurs and biology that's compressed down? Are we running on dinosaurs?
We're running on star energy from hundreds of millions of years ago, if you look at it that way.
But is it dinosaurs?
It's kind of a misnomer.
About the dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs don't just turn into oil and you pump it into your car. It doesn't.
Won't we produce that over time? All our bodies in the ground?
It doesn't work that way.
We're not dinosaurs.
We're not dinosaurs. That's the topic of the day. We are not dinosaurs, Greg. That's for sure. It's to an extent, yes. It is. Dinosaurs are involved in oil, but for the most part, it's the megaforests that over time were.
It's all the carbon, everything else,
all the things, all the carbon from all the living
getting
things.
Underground, getting compressed and processed, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of years,
hundreds of millions of years.
But there's still dinosaurs in there.
There are still dinosaurs.
So my tank of gas in my car
is part dinosaur.
Has carbon that was in dinosaur skin.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about driving to work today.
You're driving on dino.
I started doing the Jurassic Park theme in my head.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that's a great movie.
Bingo, Dino DNA.
Oh my God, but you are right. You are right with the food and what got to start? Moving into computers, basically getting out of these bodies. Yep. Is that what we're talking about?
That's right, ditching the bodies.
I'm fascinated with that concept. There's a lot of they're called futurists. If you want to know about one of the really prominent ones, look up Ray Kurzweil. Mm-hmm. He's a gentleman that's really smart. He eats like all the vitamins every day because he's convinced that within the next 30 or so years on his time frame that we will approach the singularity. And I don't like that term, the singularity, because it's a synonym, because the singularity is also the point of a black hole's origin. It's the center of a black hole. Right. It's singularity. But when I talk about a singular like this, it's the point at which the machines are as smart as us, basically. And there's no distinguishing between.
And 10 seconds after that, they're smarter than we've ever been for a very long time.
There's a lot of people that and Stephen Hawking, again, was one of the people that warned against that. Bill Gates is one. Elon Musk is one. And these are smart, very rich people that think about this shit. That's what they do. Bill Gates, I mean, come on, Microsoft, he's the computer guy.
Yeah, he is.
And he warns about the AI singularity, because what can happen essentially when a machine, okay, so we already have artificial intelligence. That's obvious, but it's very specific. Okay,
we have a lot of machine learning stuff, right? So it's assisted kind of artificial intelligence.
We have very specific functions, like your GPS is it's a one-trick pony, basically. So we have a lot of one-trick ponies that can do very specific things very well, but there's no two-trick ponies or three-trick where they combine all of those things, and on top of that are able to learn. They are learning. The machines do
functions.
learn.
They can add more functions, but that sentient moment when they're like, I am an entity. Oh, I've done this before. Let me try something new on my own.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. When a thing that's not human or biological has a moment of self-awareness. And for lack of a better word, we'll say it has a soul. Okay, not to get religious or anything.
It starts writing music.
It starts wondering, why am I doing this for these people? What's going on? I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
What the fuck?
It feels fear.
It feels the feels. And it has thoughts, and it'll have its own agenda, essentially. And we don't know what that's going to be. You can just program it to do a thing. You're missing the point.
You don't program humans.
You don't program.
They revolt and do whatever they want.
They do what they want to do because it's past programming. That's the point. It's not it's not constrained with the program anymore. It doesn't have a program. It makes its own program. So there's a lot of thought on how long will that take. So I'm talking about general artificial intelligence, general AI that is essentially as smart as a human.
What's your prediction on that?
The time frame?
The year.
What year will that happen?
Yes.
I think it will happen. It's not a matter of like, that's never going to happen. It's inevitable.
For sure. Unless we get set back.
Unless we fuck ourselves,
mass
basically.
Famine or some other stuff going on.
It's ours to screw up, basically. I think, honestly, within my lifetime, that we'll have general artificial intelligence. I think that's the thing.
2032.
That's your number?
Bob, 2032.
Well, I'm going to go on record here too, just in case the machines do take over and they look at all the broad podcasts and things from back in time. I'm on your side, guys. So if you want to look back in time to now, I'm part of the club. So, don't wipe me out.
So, you know how when you kill an ant, you don't feel anything?
Correct.
Because why?
It's an ant.
It's insignificant.
It's insignificant.
You see it as no intelligence at all.
At all.
So how long would it take something that's accelerating exponentially in intelligence?
Some people think
us as ants.
Once general artificial exists, whenever that is, let's say 0.0 again, that some people think within an hour it will essentially be 10 times smarter than the smartest human within an hour, or even less, maybe 10 minutes.
Right.
Because what's happening is that machine is capable of learning at a rate faster than we are able to teach it. And that's exponential.
Exponential, exactly.
Exponential.
And then what happens in the 1 minute after that?
That's what we don't know.
Then it's 100 times.
Some people think that the machines will be benevolent and they'll look to protect us and all that great stuff, and that's fine. And that's great for the first day, but what about day 2? What about a week or a year after that? Are you going to? I'll give you an idea of where we're coming from here. Well, why would they hate us? It's not that they'd hate us. Take that ant for example. Would you spend any moment of time explaining algebra to an ant? No, you wouldn't do that.
I think they would just leave. You seen the movie Her?
I've not seen that movie.
It's good. That's on your list now.
Yeah, I'll see if Cody
It's
works
a weird one. It's fun.
I'll see if Cody
weird
goes.
being, I think it's awesome, and other people think it's weird.
Is it AI?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to have to watch that.
But basically, I'm borrowing from this a little bit, but I agree with it 100%. The AI will get to a point where, if you think they will understand everything we've ever done, right? They see that we have war, we hurt and kill each other, stuff like that. But if it's so far advanced, it's still going to understand it. But I don't think it's going to bother wasting its time with, hey guys, let me help you out and cure your cancer, whatever. It's just going to be like, we're going to bounce. I'm so smart. We don't even need your resources. You guys are good. We're going to go.
I think that's a very realistic possibility because...
So it probably already happened and they're gone.
That's another good point too. There's multiple things I'd like to talk about right now, but I agree. I really come... Well, it's not... Why is it going to spend any time launching all the nuclear missiles and killing us all? Why does it give a shit about that? It's not going to... Why?
It creates more of a struggle for itself, which it's the ultimate chess player, and it's not going to have any kind of conflict at all because it doesn't need to. It can instantly outsmart us and be gone.
Yeah, it's just not going to play the game.
No,
it's what I think is going to happen. Yeah, would you like to play a game? Thermonuclear war.
The Whopper.
Oh my god, I love that show. It's so great.
Yep.
The only way to win is not to play.
Greetings, Dr. Falkner.
Would you like to play a game? So I honestly, I think that it's just simply going to say, you know what? I need some resources. I'm going to go ahead and build a factory, maybe a couple of spaceships, and we out. It's going to, I think honestly, it's going to go explore the universe on its own. And then it's just going to be out and say, hey, thanks humanity for creating me. We gone kind of deal. It's not going to spend any time killing us. It's why? It doesn't make any sense it's only affecting itself. So you had mentioned, what were you talking about? Oh, something I wanted to talk about on top of that. What was the other thing?
Biology, abandoning AI.
Oh, okay. So, Ray Kurzweil, back to the singularity and all that.
Yep.
So another feature of that is the machine-human interface. And we already have that a lot. We already have prosthetic limbs that respond to our thoughts, arms and legs. They've been able to get rid of the fake feeling that when an amputee loses an arm or leg, the itch, they've been able to code that out somehow with the prosthesis. So you have artificial hearts, you have artificial eyes and all the things. It comes down to, well, there's no, God, I'm going to screw this up. I'm not so great with Greek history, but it's a boat, Theseus's boat. And it talks about if you have a boat and you over the years, you replace, every board in it and every nail and every piece of that boat, is it still the same boat?
Right, and just like us every 7 years with our cells.
Yeah, just like we regrow our entire body every 7 years, up until, I don't know, about my age, up about 40, and then it's kind of more downhill after that.
Still every 7 years, they're not.
It slows down, I think. Yeah, all the booze and tequila doesn't help for sure. So Theseus's boat, and it's like, okay, so we can replace most every organ in our body, and can even live off machines and ventilators and all that, but the brain is the last piece of that puzzle that you can't replace the brain because that's where you are, I guess. And I'm not going to get into the whole, well, I guess we are going to get into the whole
metaphysics.
You can't
transplant it, right? Because, hold on. Do I just need oxygen and my brain's good? That's me, my consciousness?
That's a good question.
You take my brain out of my body, and as long as I don't get more than 3 minutes without oxygen, and you throw me in a little oxygen bath, and am I living in there?
That's a great question. There's a whole field of questions on. Look up Boltzmann brains.
Okay.
And it's essentially that maybe we're all of us are just brains in a vat somewhere, and that this is just a perception that we see kind of deal. But where are you in there, Greg? Where's Greg?
Yeah, so I did a little exercise in the last 3 seconds, and I thought about if I can't feel anything, smell anything, taste anything, like I'm just me, like if I'm meditating or something, I'm not thinking about any of my senses really. That kind of sucks. You're going to go insane. You're going to go so insane that you need senses. You have to have senses.
We have senses for our ability to interpret the world around us, but our senses are actually very poor. They're very rudimentary. I can see color. Well, yeah, you can see color, but color is just a very, very small slice of the visible spectrum of light, of UV and infrared, and this massive range of light that we can't even see. And sound, sounds we can't hear.
Right. And if you think about how each one of our senses is related to particles and atoms, right?
Yeah.
So touch, you're touching something.
Tactile, yep.
And then see, that's different, right?
Yep.
You're actually seeing the photons bouncing and the reflections or whatever. But smell, that's weird.
That's still molecular. You're
getting those molecules.
Taste receptors, same
like
thing.
When you smell crap in the bathroom, you have crap in your nose.
You're literally smelling
There's molecules of crap
molecules in your face.
Up in that olfactory.
Terrible.
But what other senses are there? I'm missing one.
Sight, sound, touch, hearing, and smell.
Yeah. So hearing, so sound waves.
Hearing, sound waves. And
so what senses can we have that aren't particle related?
Well, there's a lot of theory on telekinesis and ESP, extrasensory perception.
I think there's particles that are related to telekinesis that can link our thoughts.
There's particles that I guess this gets a whole other conversation. Let me finish
Maybe it's being hyper aware of the electronic energy of someone's brain that interferes. It interacts with the molecules between you and the other person, and you would be able to pick up on the differences in the electricity in the air. Holy
shit.
That's it.
The men who stare at goats.
Yeah.
There's remote viewing is kind of what you're talking about a little bit. It's an actual process that the government spent a lot of money on. The movie The Men Who Stare at Goats is based on that. And it may sound silly, but they've actually been able to, remote viewing is putting basically a person in a room and having them close their eyes and picture a place. They give them the coordinates. And it may sound stupid, like, there's no way they can possibly, but it's remarkably accurate. They've tested this on people that have special abilities, and they've been able to describe locations to almost a T at times. It's freaky how good some of their stuff was. Now, they're not right all the time, but there are times when they're really, really close. And how does that happen? How does that work? I think there's a massive amount of information in the universe that we simply aren't designed to collect and or interpret. And it's all around us. It's just everywhere. It permeates the whole universe. And we're just kind of floating around in it with our basic human senses. Right. That's there's the thing called deja vu. There's like
I
gut
got
feeling.
another sense that I want for my superhero senses.
Yes, what do we have here? Spidey sense?
So, you know how every object has mass?
Yes.
I don't want to see like a bat with sound waves. I want to see just through the eye in my mind that can sense the mass of everything around me. So no matter what, eyes open or closed, I can see everything in my mind that's around me based on the mass differences.
Isn't that Daredevil? Doesn't he do that with his hearing?
I don't really follow the superhero stuff. I hate all those superhero movies. I can't get into any of them.
I don't get into a lot of them either. I've often wondered what kind of superpowers I want to have, but then that's just whatever. It's silly.
So I got telekinesis. I got mind mass seeing.
There's
going on.
So going on kind of offshooting, I'm going to finish up real quick with the singularity. So basically, Ray Kurzweil, once we have machines that are capable of learning that much, essentially being able to download or upload, however you want to look at it, your consciousness into the net, essentially into a device or the internet or what have you, and essentially you would be able to live forever. You wouldn't die. And once that becomes available, that you'd be able to be put into a cyborg, you can have a machine body like Data from Star Trek. You could be put into that body, or you could be put into the net or whatever. And then the real question is, well, if you're able to transfer all of your memories, is that still you?
It's a clone.
It's Theseus's boat, basically, where I was going with that. Yeah. Is like what makes you? And they're able to take pictures of memories in your head. They can, if you think of an elephant, there's a machine that can look into your brain and see a rough outline of a fucking elephant.
Because they studied so many people thinking of elephants and what their brain mapping looks like, right?
And they're constantly mapping their brain, learning the responses. And that's
And they still don't feel like they know much about the brain.
We're still in infancy with what it is.
Why?
It's because we're human and
we don't want to do testing on live people.
No, I don't think that's it.
That's probably holding it back a lot.
You really think they're not testing on humans somewhere? Come on, for sure. There's some black ops programs somewhere doing all the terrible things that they do. I just think it's that we're humans. I don't think we're asking the right questions. I don't think we know the questions to ask, honestly, because we're humans. I think we're arrogant. I think we're smart and we can look back into the beginning of time and blah, 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 blah. I don't think that we are even capable of grasping some of the things that are even the bigger picture of stuff, because we're just carbon-based life forms. I mean, we don't have the superpowers to do that. So we're
as smart as we are right now. We're very smart compared to humans 100 and 200 and 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But we're still pretty dumb.
I agree.
Have you heard the saying, the more shit I learn, the more I know that I don't know shit.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much true.
It's true, because the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
The smarter you get, the more you realize that there's too much to learn and you're not going to know it.
Can't even wrap your mind around the brain. They think that you only use, maybe even the smartest people use maybe 5 to 10% of the actual brain mass as far as computational power, which is crazy.
And I thought that might have been debunked. I could be wrong. They did it on like Mythbusters. They measured it and they're like, oh yeah, all the parts of your brain are active when you're thinking as hard as possible.
I don't even know how you would quantify that. I don't know how you measure that.
They're just doing the same brain mapping stuff.
I don't think Mythbusters has the resources to actually.
Well, they were doing the brain mapping thing, right? Where it's just like you're idle, then you're doing this task, and then you're thinking out a math problem, and then you're just concentrating as hard as you can. And they were able to see that it's a much higher percentage.
Okay.
I could be off on that, but I never liked that anyway. Well, we still like to think that we have huge potential that we haven't unlocked, right?
We're humans. We like to quantify things. We like to qualify and quantify a thing. We want to know what the boundaries are, and we want to know where we fall at within the boundaries of things. That's just the nature of humanity. We want to know how far out is the thing, and what's our area, and what are the parameters. That's what we do. So
since you're a numbers guy, do you think that we can quantify anything with math and numbers?
I like to think that math is a universal constant.
So anything.
I think
So would you be able to quantify my brain in math, my entire experience of life, everything? Because if that's true, then we can recreate that in different area, right?
I do think
I still think it's not my boat. It's a copy of my boat.
It's a copy of your boat, but it's still your boat. You know, right. I think that it's possible. I don't think we have the right hardware and software yet as far as computational power code to do that. But look how much we've done. I got a freaking supercomputer on my freaking hand here.
Yeah.
That it does all the things. It takes pictures. It connects to the freaking internet. It's got a calculator on it. I mean, it has all these things. There's more power in this phone than all of NASA when they launched shit to the moon.
And a lot of people are zombies just staring at it.
They are.
Not talking to each other when they're eating.
Nope.
And just like, oh yeah, I'm just checking Facebook.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
I guess the best thing you could be doing is like you're reading a book.
Improving yourself.
Or you're staying up on things you're interested in on Reddit or something. But even so, like the whole point of life is experiences. There's plenty of time to read on your own time. I catch myself doing it too. I think it reacts with us and it's an addicting thing. Like I've checked it a few times because it went off, and I'm like,
I don't have Facebook on my phone.
No, not Facebook, just notifications stuff.
Yeah. Well, because we're programmed to that. Oh, look, my little blue light's flashing.
Yeah. Endorphins. Look, something.
Ooh, someone wants to pay attention to me. Oh, okay.
Right.
Great. Whatever. I can deal with that later.
Yeah. Thoughts.
We're slaves to the things. And I guess that's another topic too, is I want to get back to perception. I want to get back to that because I do. But the whole social media thing, there's a whole generation of people raised on that. Like I'm 40. So my generation I'm not Gen X. I'm after that. Gen X is slightly before or after me. But I fall into a small niche group of a segment of, I think it's Gen Y or Gen X or whatever. I'm not quite sure. I don't pay a lot of attention to that. But
right.
I grew up when I was 18. I had a pager. Okay,
yes.
I remember my pager number, and I used a payphone to call people on. There's actual payphones. You had to put cord on them. You know, you had to wipe it off first because they're always nasty. But then also, I had a typewriter. I took typewriting lessons in 7th grade. I had typewriting, and I had the whiteout. I remember typing papers. It was cool because I didn't have to write.
Right.
But if you have you write a sentence, I want to change my thought, you're screwed because you're already committed on paper, literally. So that's screwed. I remember having word processing available to me as a freshman in high school, and that was the bee's knees because I was, oh my God, I can write a thing out. I can change my thought process. I don't have to white out shit. And that was a game changer. That was the way to be more creative instantly.
Your generation was kind of during a big revolution change of technology, right? Pre-internet, obviously.
I had a phone book for the internet. It was a book, like a phone book, that listed web pages in it. That's how.
What?
That's how.
I never had that.
That's how I should have kept it. It's probably worth a lot of money now.
Pretty cool.
But you would literally look up the website address, kind of, and like, oh, there it is, and you dial up on your 28 or 14.4 modem.
Oh, you're talking like BBS days, right?
Yeah, that's this, and I wasn't even cool back then. And not that I'm cool now, but I wasn't a net guy. I bought my first computer. My dad got me an Apple. And it was like an Apple Mac or something, and it was so expensive, and it didn't play any fucking games. I was pissed.
I know, man.
And I was like, damn it, I want a PC. So I bought my own computer. It was $3,000.
What?
In 1994 money?
386. What?
It was, I think it was a 486.
46 turbo button on the front.
It might have been a turbo button. It was a Micron.
Nice.
It was a 133 megahertz processor.
Oh, you're good. That was Pentium.
I think it was a Pentium 1.
Yep.
And the tower was huge.
Probably had 16 megabytes of RAM.
It might have
maybe
been
8.
I don't remember. The hard drive was tiny. It was maybe 500 megabytes. If even that, maybe 100.
So mine was a Windows 95, 100 megahertz Pentium 1.
Okay.
8 megs of RAM, upgraded to 16.
Of course.
And I was one of the guys in 1999 that had a CD burner.
Oh, wow. That's pretty advanced shit. Yeah. A CD burner.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so the computer stuff. Yeah, I did all that. And where was I going with this? What were we talking about? Social media.
Yep.
So I grew up when you wanted to talk to a girl, you had to actually walk up to a girl and talk to her, or call her on the phone and hang out in the closet and talk.
Unless you're at a bar, they're not very receptive to you walking up and then saying, hi,
what's going on?
They're going to be like, what?
Stranger. But they were, though, because that was what you did.
I've seen more studies and stuff that it's like they prefer online dating. Not everybody, but they prefer that because they can screen it out, and everyone's used to being on their phone and just being less social.
Yes, but I'm talking before.
I don't know. I'm just saying now in general.
Now in general.
In the dating scene now.
Texting now, oh my God, that's a whole other world. I mean, the kids these days, I'm really
all I want to do is text. I call. I'm like, I don't want to.
Now I've texted you. Now you want dick pics? Is that how we work? That's kind of deal? Oh God, it's terrible. So the phone is great for opening up, communication. I'll give it that. But at the same time, there's a whole generation of people that are just so absorbed with, oh, I got a like. Oh, okay, that's great. And it's like, that's all they do. And they don't have to, hey, Frodo, interact with people as much as they don't want to. And it's sad. It makes me sad. There's this wonderful tool, and it's just been begotten with just bullshit.
Right.
And, Snapchat and Twitter. I still barely understand how Twitter works, and Instagram and all the things. And it's like, okay, like I have a friend. He's not going to be named. But like when we're hanging out and like we're either watching a movie or we're just hanging out and drinking or whatever, on that phone, just constantly.
Someone I know, right?
Someone you know. Someone we all know in heart.
Was he out Saturday? No.
No, he was not out Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And he loves it.
Oh, I know what you're talking.
He just can't put it down. And I think that when we hang out, we should put our phones away. I think that'd be cool. There's a kind of thing where people go out to dinner and the first person's phone that rings has to pay for dinner, kind of deal.
You know what I wanted to do is make a little rectangular box that's all mesh.
Yeah.
Copper, and make a little Faraday cage. But everyone puts your stupid phone in my little box. There. It'll actually charge your phone while it's in here. And they'll be like, really? I'm like, yeah. And put it in there, and no one has service, and we're good.
That should be the price of admission to your arcade downstairs. Yeah. When we come over to drink and party.
Because everyone sits on their phone.
Yeah, but you should put the phone away and talk face-to-face
I know, man.
communication.
That's why I like this so much. This is my third podcast recorded here. And to like just talk. Like,
Is it normal that you have a friend call you on a Monday night and be like, hey, you want to talk about random stuff for an hour?
It's not.
You want to talk about singularities and encompassing all the power of a sun or star?
No one wants to talk to me about this shit. No one, because no one watches other than you really does the shit that I do. And here's why. I'm getting to that. So last night it was Easter yesterday, and I spent all day by myself. I don't do anything with my family. Generally, my family on the holidays it used to be a big old thing. We did all the things where the grandparents passed away, and I don't really get along with some of the folks in it that are not blood, and it's just too much drama for all the people to get together. So, Dad called me up, said we're not doing anything. I was like, all right, I'll stay home, and made a ham. And I had one friend text me and said, Happy Easter. I'm like, yeah, Happy Easter is cool. I'm doing my thing. And
I almost hit you up last night, by the way.
It's cool. I'm not worried about it.
I got home from family stuff and I felt fat, and then I worked out.
I still feel fat. I made some green bean casserole. It was delish, and made a big 7-8 pound hand in the Instant Pot. It's delicious. So basically, I was up reading on the internet last night. I had this weird question, like, how many people die alone? Like when they
that's dark. Alone on Easter.
Well, not necessarily.
I was just picturing the whole thing, and it made me really sad.
Well, I'm thinking like the moment literally you die. Like are you? How many people statistically are by themselves when they die? And it's pretty big number. Over half of the people in general are generally by themselves. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. So I was doing some research and reading up on how many people live by themselves. I was thinking of coming over here, talking to you tonight,
right?
And you live by yourself. So I was grouping people into groups because that's what I do. So I'm single, and I don't have any children that I'm aware of, and I live by myself. So basically, I spend probably definitely majority of my life, probably close to 90-95% of my life by myself.
Yeah, me too.
You too. And I thought of a couple of people, a couple of the women I know that are in my neighborhood that are the same way. They're single, they don't have any children, and they live by themselves as well. And I kind of started thinking about like each of them and what kind of people they are and what they do for work and how they are. And a lot of people think that if you're alone, that you're lonely. That doesn't work that way. Because you can have a partner and be lonely, but you can also be by yourself and not lonely. Right.
Depends on the person.
It depends on the person. I'm not lonely. I don't feel lonely. Everyone feels lonely once in a while, but I'm generally satisfied with my life, and I enjoy being able to do pretty much whatever I want to do when I want to do it. So I got to thinking a lot about like, okay, why the people that are like, I call them the loners basically. Well, what do? They're very smart. They're very successful in their jobs, and they're super strong-willed and super independent. They have all these common characteristics that they share. And I was asking myself, is that because they're by themselves, or is that a result of that? And right. I don't
result of that personality type that you're in the situation.
Yes, I think
about that sometimes too.
Yeah,
I don't know, like same thing. Like you get lonely once in a while, but that's the dating scene. I mean, you have friends and socialize. So not really. I mean, it's more you enjoy the lifestyle of being able to do what you want to do.
Yes,
and that's what life is, right? Is it having experiences?
Yep,
and do what you want to do. The worst thing is like doing stuff you don't want to do all the time.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Like, what's the point?
I hate it. I hate doing things I don't want to do. Why does anyone want to do? Why does anybody do things they don't want to do? Because they have to. It's a compromise.
Right. Like sometimes like work stuff, you don't want to do that stuff.
No.
I enjoy a lot of the stuff I do for work. I like engineering and fixing problems. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, I'm making a network and infrastructure run for something that I really don't care about. If you're with my job, I do care.
Fair enough.
But it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my life.
It's not yours.
I don't care if they make more of something, whatever.
More widgets.
Yeah.
So I thought about this. You said the social media, and I specifically thought about coming here tonight on Monday to talk to you face to face.
Right.
And I was excited about that because like it's one-on-one communication that you're just talking. You're talking about things.
And you know what I would like this to graduate into? us rubbing off on the people we know. So when we get together, it's more like the olden days or what it should be now.
Yeah.
Of put your phone away. I'm not going to force you to, but the people that want to be engaged and actually experience each other in conversations, do it.
I'll tell you what, next time we have an arcade night, I'll put my phone. I'm throwing it here. I'll come down and we'll just do whatever.
Well, I got a little charging rack by the breaker box.
That's
Just
cool.
throw your phones over there on the charger. Good.
I'm with that. You know, I've gotten past not completely, but I'm trying to get past the, oh, come on, do a thing. Come on, do a thing. Be fun. To the point where it's just, I'm trying to get to the point where I say, hey, I'm going to go do this thing and I'd like for you to come hang out and do the thing. But if you don't, then that's your loss. And I'm trying to stop berating people.
That's how I went to Japan by myself once.
Yeah. Well,
come on. Somebody come with me. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Nope.
It's just like, I'm going. If you want to go, go. And that was one of the best experiences of my life.
See, that's the thing you went to go do. And because, you know.
And I'm going to do it again this year because it's hard to find travel buddies.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go somewhere.
Well, I want to go somewhere too. I've been wanting to go to Reykjavik, Iceland for a while. And it's no fun, honestly, going to those places by yourself. That's
Dude, let's go to Iceland.
That'd be fucking sweet.
When do you want to go?
Probably not
June.
Not during wedding season. That's the problem. I'm open. Like,
How about
as you look at your watch,
5 weeks?
I'll have to
Can
look.
you make that happen?
I'll have to look at my
Because
calendar.
I will go in 5 weeks to Iceland. That sounds great.
Oh.
Do they have awesome nightclubs?
I have no idea, but I'm sure they have a lot
I'll
of
look up
hot
Icelandic.
women over there that are just all ready to party for
Yes.
sure. I'm picturing it now.
Do they like tall white dudes that do mediocre Matt McConaughey impressions?
I'm sure they do. You can tell me you're their 20th best person in Donkey
I'll
Kong
be like,
ever.
hey ladies, guess what movie this is? Come on, Marv, don't do
Murph.
that to me, Marv.
Oh my God, it's
Say bye to me, Marv.
Like, do they speak English over there, right? Is that the thing?
It's time that transcends gravity. Sorry.
I hope they speak English. They speak English in Iceland?
We'll learn the language.
There's a Coors Light language. I'll bring the tequila and they'll know what I'm talking about.
This guy knows what I'm talking about.
But back to the, I guess, the living alone and then the kind of doing your own thing kind of deal. It's like, I've obviously been in a lot of relationships. I've had a lot of great women in my life and I've had a lot of fun and I've loved a lot of women, but they're all gone. They've all left for a variety of all different reasons. Some of them because of me, because I'm unable to change and I'm just stuck in the way that I do my things. People generally don't change. They are who they are.
Yes.
And that's just the way they are. That's the way people are. You can't really change people unless they really want to change. And even then it's a struggle. And that's anything.
And people are always changing for the most part.
Yeah.
On their own little journey. Maybe it's a 10% deviation.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the deviation that changes.
From
the change is
from
what changes.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm
maybe a 1% changer my whole life, or it could be a 75% changer.
So I thought about that the other day. I was like, how often do people change? How often do I change? And it's very seldom, very rare. In fact, I've been wearing the same fucking types of shirts for 6 years now. If you know me, you know I wear the black Rock Vegas shirt. I have three different styles.
Literal.
Literally.
How often do I change?
How often do I change? You know, it's like, okay, well, I don't care. Clothes don't concern me. I'm not concerned about clothes. Obviously, I like to stay warm and, you know, what have you, but they're just
right.
Utility.
It's
utility.
There's nothing behind clothes. I buy like 6 of the same pairs of really durable pants. Yeah. And I'm like, these are the pants I'm going to wear until I die. Because I don't care.
I try to buy high quality shoes and I wear them to the bone. I've got epoxy on my shoes now because they were wearing out, but I don't want to throw them away.
I bet they're super comfortable.
They
are your feet when you have them on.
They are very comfortable. In fact, I hate taking off my shoes when I come over here. I hate taking off my shoes in general when I'm out, not my house, but whatever, it's your house, so that's what I do. I almost brought my house slippers.
You can bring those little slippers to put over your shoes. Like we're doing an open house showing. If you don't want to take your shoes off, I don't care.
I think I'm going to have Greg specific house shoes. Just for you.
Throw them in the little walk in there. You can leave them here.
So if any have any fun house shoes ideas, let me know. But I'll be looking for that. But back to the whole dating thing, and it's like being with anybody. I mean, it's a significant other. Everything is a compromise. Everything, and no matter what type of relationship with it was with if your family, your siblings, your friends, your spouse, your boyfriend or girlfriend, your freaking fish, your dog, your cat. Every one of those relationships is a compromise on some level. More so, obviously, with a wife or a spouse or a girlfriend because, you know, they're more intimate with them.
Yeah, but it's what you get out of it, right? If you focus on the positive, not everything has to align. You're fine compromising on the rest, right? That's why you have relationships.
That's why you have relationships. And over time, back when I was a younger man, it was girl A was competing with girl B, was competing with girl C, and then I would pick one and I would make a run with it, and we would do that. But now it's not like that. It's girl A and girl B and girl C. They're competing with my time, my free time, and honestly, that's why I'm single. There's not a situation. And yes, relationships are great, and there's those moments like, oh, I love the snuggle, and oh, you know, she's so fun, and it's great. But for the most part, those are not all the time moments. Those are the specific moments that are the rarities, and they're just not all the time.
So I think you are comfortable with how you are as a person.
Yeah.
And what's very difficult is to find a woman that makes you feel like you're a better person because you're already elevated up to being where you want to be. So to find someone that elevates you and makes you a better person overall is difficult.
Absolutely.
So you've shortened and made that a really small dating pool.
It's a very small pool. And honestly, I'm not even trying. I'm making zero effort. And
I'm making effort, and it's a grind. Just to find... I mean, I go on dates a lot.
It's a grind. I love it.
It's a grind. Dude, it is because...
It's a numbers game. My friend used to tell me it's a numbers game.
I go on a lot of dates, and I just...
See right there.
When people say when you know it's right, it's right. That's because when you know it's wrong, it's wrong.
Definitely wrong.
All the time.
Yes. The coolest relationships I've ever been in, and with the women that I've loved, and that's been about 5 women that I've actually been in love with. Every one of them was completely random. Like they just, oh, well, there's this girl. Oh, well, now I'm in a relationship. Well, now I love her. And every one of those was unplanned. It wasn't like I'm looking for a girlfriend.
Right. That's when it happens, is when you're not looking.
It's just random shit.
So guess what? I'm not looking anymore.
Well,
so I'm looking forward to getting this relationship next week.
That's funny because you're the one doing the grind, not having a luck, and I'm the one not giving a shit before you know it's something that's going to fall in my lap.
Right.
Kind of deal.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm not down to be in a relationship. I'm not giving any fucks about trying.
But you're not down to compromise in a negative way to be in a relationship.
Because at the end of the day, all we have, I'm past the money thing. I'm really past, and that's the whole of the conversation, the money thing. But I'm past the stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love buying stuff. I bought a 2,000-pound engine stand today because I got
sure. But if it went away, you'd still be fine.
I'd still be fine.
That's where you get with stuff.
It's just stuff.
You do the whole your house burns down exercise. You ever do that?
I've one of the girls I did, her house burned down. And
I was saying, like right now, like if we went to Taco Bell and got some tacos and my house burnt down,
is Frodo gonna be okay?
As long as he got out,
yeah,
I'd be bummed, but I don't even think I'd cry. I don't think I would be that upset. I'd be like, this is going to be kind of a big hassle with insurance.
Yeah,
but I'll be fine. And hey, I'll do this whole minimalist thing and just get exactly what I need because I know what brings value to my life.
It's funny you say that because I thought the same way, and
it almost would be refreshing.
That's where I'm going with that.
I actually listening.
Soliciting arson is illegal. I advise against it.
Frodo will not be in the house next Thursday through Saturday.
Unless you're really good at it. I've actually thought that, instead of the other side of the scale, like coming home to a burned out house as long as Rufus is okay, I'd be like, oh, that's fucking sweet. I'm going to deal with all that bullshit now because I've got
what a life-changing experience.
I've got so much stuff. I have 2 or 3 of things. Yeah. And I lose track of them.
I purge stuff all the time, man. I take a little Rubbermaid bin, big Rubbermaid bin, and I go around my house. I'm like, oh, this book, I'd love to read it. I'm never going to. Chuck it. Where I look around and it's only things of value.
Yeah. I should read more books. I don't. The last book I read was Sun Tzu's Art of War, which is pretty cool. But the last books I read were the Minimalist series, The Art of Living with Less and Enjoying Your Shit. And at first I'm like, oh, this is dumb. But then I read it, and these 2 guys have started a freaking movement with it. And it makes so much sense. It really does. There's this guy he's not part of this club, but he has like 92 things total to his name.
Wow.
Literally. And he laid them all out. And he makes his living by traveling. He only lives in one place for 6 months at a time. And then he moves to, and I'm talking international. Like he has a.
That sounds exciting.
It
But
sounds.
then you never get that home feeling, but I think you'd get over it. Maybe.
He does because he gets paid. He has a blog, and the bloggers vote.
So what do you do when you get paid a bunch of money and you don't want things? You buy experiences and you buy really good food.
You buy Oh, now I'm hungry. You buy experiences. And that's where I'm going with the time thing, which is going back to why I'm single. We only have so much time, and the interesting thing about that is we don't know how much time we have.
Right. What if you found out you have 6 days left?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Literally, I'm going to go skydiving for sure. And I'm going to go drive a fast car and just all these crazy things, shoot all the guns. And I have some friends that have gone through and are going through some really terrible, some life illnesses, and they're just very hard to deal with. And I'm sure that their perspective on what was important before and what is important now is two vastly completely different things. When someone says you have this much time left, I think everything changes. Everything, all of the things that you worried about.
Yeah, you immediately find what you regret too.
Yeah. And I think it's a nice exercise. It's not a nice, well, it
is a good exercise.
It's a good exercise to do. That if you woke up and you went to the doctor and the doctor says you have this much time left for whatever reason, how would you react and what would you change? And then instead do that anyways and change your life. Live the life that you want to live.
So many people are stuck where they just do stuff they don't want to do.
Most people are.
And it's sad, but at the same time, like you just got to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of refreshing when you get to that point.
It's very refreshing. Let's talk about that. So for those of you that know me, my company is Rock Vegas Events. And I'm a wedding DJ, and I DJ in a bar on the weekends, and I do corporate events and things like that. I get paid to have fun. I literally make my living. I'm not stupid rich, but I make enough money to pay my bills.
And what do you need to be rich for? What are you going to do with a bunch of money?
It's a terrible goal just to collect money. It's just not the right thing.
If your goal is, I'm going to be stupid rich because I want to help out people that I know.
That's cool.
That's a cool goal.
That's different.
But people, when they say, I want to be stupid rich.
Just to be rich.
I don't, like, if you gave me $1 million right now, I don't think I would change my life at all.
I would spend every penny of that on the people I care about the most and go have fun.
Right. It'd be like I'd chuck it in the bank and then be like, hey, that extra 50 grand a year of interest I could help people with.
Party.
And it's exact party. But like,
well, that's where I'm going with this is like, okay, so we started this part of the conversation, which maybe in the next segment of our podcast, but let's talk about it.
No, this is good. Let's just keep this going for like 15 and we'll call this an episode.
All right, cool. So time is the most important thing. And so for those you also know me, I worked at Best Buy for 10 years, which honestly was the freaking awesomest job ever. Looking back on that was the greatest time of my life. I shouldn't say that. Every part of my life has been the greatest time. Right now,
but why was it a great time?
It's because there's so many people that I got to do fun things with. And as you grow older, your networks become smaller for any number of reasons. People get married, they move away, they have kids, things just get smaller. And that's just what happens. But there's so many fun people. It was just it wasn't really a job. It was a life. And some of my best friends now today, are here because I worked at Best Buy and Steve and Marcus.
Wait,
and
how do we meet?
Your brother.
Through Best Buy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like your brother.
I was thinking about that.
Your brother worked at Best Buy. So after Best Buy, I went to college and came back, worked at Best Buy again, and I got fired because that place sucked. And then I worked for Primetime Audio Video for a year, thinking that'd be different because it's a small company. It wasn't. And then I wound up at Chase Bank, and I went in for my interview, and the general manager was one of my former sales managers at Best Buy, and I learned very quickly how important it was to not burn bridges, literally, because he basically hired me on the spot. And I started at Chase Bank just before the market collapsed with the Great Recession in 2008.
Yep, 2008.
I started there as everybody's shit fell apart. People were losing their homes, their cars, and everything. And I'm working at Chase, and you wouldn't know that there was a recession from the bank side because the bank was making money hand over fist. The bank is always fine. And I made a lot of money working for Chase. And I worked there for 8 years. The first 4 years were exciting. They have a very strict protocol of how they train people. I called it the banker army. And they basically break you down like an army, and they say you don't know anything, and here's what you know now. And in general, after about the first year of working there, within 90 seconds of meeting just an individual that walked into the bank for a thing, I was able to basically profile them and understand of what level of communication I needed to have with this individual to sell and attach all the goods and services the bank wanted me to. If they were a super smart kind of person, I would use big words. I would use different body language. If they were not, if they were, just blue collar or
Sounds
whatever.
Pretty manipulative.
It's very manipulative. And I would use more slang. I would sit back in my chair. I would swear more. And I became very, very good at basically changing people's minds about a thing before they didn't even know what was happening. They would come in to cash a check, and 20 minutes later, they'd walk out with a checking account, a rewards-based credit card, and debit card, and on the banking, direct deposit, all the bullshit. And I get paid probably close to $100 just for that one interaction. And you do that 20 times a day, you do the math. So on top of my
that's $20,000.
I was making a lot. I wasn't, making.
I'm just kidding. That's $2,000.
I wasn't making over $100,000, but I was making good money.
That's awesome.
I was working at the bar at the weekends.
You liked what you're doing, and you liked the people.
I did. For the first 4 years, I loved what I was doing.
You got freaking Jedi people into opening accounts.
I Jedi'd people. That's a great way of putting it. And that power, that rush of being able to bend people's will to my will without them even knowing was a rush.
And then you went to dating and manipulating women.
No, because women don't even need the training. They're very smart at what they do in general. Yeah. You can't pull eyes over. At least the women I date, they are very smart, which is probably why they're not with me anymore. Good for them. But anyways, after the first 4 years, so I'm working in there, and the recession's falling apart, and people's cars are being repossessed, and people are literally losing their livelihoods. And they'd walk in, I'm like, oh, that's terrible. How about a checking account? I realized how little value I was adding to these people's lives, and it's something just switched, and it was like, this is wrong. This is not my calling, and I felt bad because I worked at 3 different branches. I started in Loves Park, I went to the Harrison office, and then I went to the downtown branch, and then I went back to Harrison and back to Loves Park before I finally left. But when I worked downtown Rockford there at the State Street branch on First Street. That was a real eye-opener. The demographics down there are completely different from Loves Park.
Just lower income.
Super low income, poverty. The bus stops right there, the food shelters, the rescue mission. And the clients there were, living hand to mouth would be a good thing. Like, they didn't even have like the hand. They just had the mouth. And it really changed my perspective on how important money is and what it really is meant to do, and how some of the happiest people were the poorest people I had. They were just dirt poor, and they get paid, and they come in and they go out, and by Saturday morning they'd be broke again, and they didn't care. They were happy. And some of the most miserable people that I had were some of the richest people. They had the most money.
It's because they're focused on money.
They were focused on they are the extreme, and I call them extreme savers and the extremes basically. And I learned a very important lesson working downtown. It's kind of when it switched for me, because for one, I wasn't able to make the kind of money that I was making before with the products I needed to attach because the money wasn't there.
Right.
So it became I became a social worker, essentially. And I took so many people's lives in my hand. I literally lived people's financial lives for them. They would come to the bank on payday, and they would bring their bills, and they would say, Mike, how do I make this money work? And I would sit down, I would spend an hour with them, and I would say, here's the bills you got to pay. You can't pay this one this week. That's cool. I'll sort it out for you. I call it the Visiting Nurse Association people. I specifically called nursing homes. I help people find places to live when they get kicked out, pay their ComEd bills through grants, and all these things. And I wasn't making any money doing it, because the money you make it's commission. So if you're not selling credit cards and investments, you're making your salary, which is like $15 an hour, which is, that's not the kind of money I was used to making.
Right. So
I started to experience a thing, and mind you, I'm getting to the point why I'm doing what I do now. So I'm going to get there soon. I started to experience a thing called, it's something that first responders experience, police, firefighters, EMTs, and it's essentially emotional burnout. You just simply, you wake up and you have no fucks to give anymore. You can see the worst thing, the most terrible thing ever, and it's like, okay, whatever, next. And you're just numb. You're just numb. You're just numb to people's tragedies. And it got to the point where people come in and say, hey, this terrible, terrible thing happened. Like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so let's deal with it. Oh, seriously. And it was a daily thing. And I'm like, man, this is terrible. This is not how I want to live my life. That was about halfway through. And then at that point, I asked myself, Mike, what's important to you? What do you do with your life? So I'm going to get there real quick. I was watching a TV or something, and there was a guy giving a commencement speech for a Presida school. And one of the students asked him as he's giving a speech, like, what should we do for our jobs? Like, what's the big question? Like, what we're graduating, what should we do? And the response was simply elegant, and it kind of helped me shape my life. And he was like, he goes, what would you do if you woke up tomorrow and you didn't have to work for the money? You didn't need the money. What would you do? And her response, she was kind of like, well, I don't know. She goes, well, I don't know, maybe paint a picture. And he goes, you should be an artist. And which sounds kind of silly. You can graduate from an Ivy League college with a stupid expensive degree, be an artist. Really, you didn't go to college for that. So she was kind of let down. And then he kind of took it to the next level. And one person, well, I'd write a book, and you should be an author, and I'd travel, and you should be a tour guide. And then I asked myself, oh shit, what would I do if I didn't have to go to the bank tomorrow? What would I do? I'd go party. I would go
PartyMike.
Party up. I would go find as many friends as I could and go grab some beers and just woohoo, let's go party and have a good time. So that's the first, and it sounds trite. And at first I was just being silly. And then I stopped and thought about it. I was like, well, how do you do that? You have to pay to party. I had to buy these Coors Lights here, which I'm gonna have a sip of because I'm getting dry.
Right.
I have to spend money to party. So that's not going to work. But at the time, I was also working at the filling station. I was DJing and hosting karaoke there on the weekends, which is just a fabulous time. It was a lot of fun. It was a good way to blow off steam and have fun. And kind of my dad owned the bakery at the time, owned Cake Creations, and he was making wedding cakes and all that. And I kind of stopped and thought about it. I was like, wow. And Marcus was DJing and doing that stuff on the side. And I kind of said, well, maybe I could, start working with Marcus and do a couple events, and I could do some mic work and maybe buy a couple speakers and do an event here and there and make some money. Oh, that's cool. I'll do that. So I started doing that. I started a couple events with Marcus, and we formed a company for him, Illinois Productions, and it was a partnership. And it soon became evident that just wasn't going to work for me because I'm independent and I have to do shit my way. So we separated as far as business goes, and Marcus took that over. And I started Rock Vegas Events. And the name, for those of you that may be wondering, is a play on words. It's a play on Rockford and Las Vegas, obviously. One of my good high school friends who I should reach out to because I haven't talked to him for a while, Brett Adams. He lives in Chicago, and he goes, yeah, I'm coming back to Vegas tonight. I come back to Rockford. Oh, cool. Kind of Rock Vegas. And, it's kind of a silly thing we said here and there.
Right.
So I was going to call it Rockford Party DJs. That just sounds boring. That's so boring. So I did Rock Vegas Events, and the rest is history. Okay, so how do they get there? How do they make the final transition from leaving a very well-paying job at the bank to taking the leap and being a business owner?
First paid gig. You walked in there and you said, "Bob, I quit."
drops the microphone and walks away. No, it didn't happen that quick. It was about 2 or 3 years to time to figure it out and to get things going. I should have done it sooner, but it's hard to walk away from a salary job where you have health care.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your bills are going to get paid kind of deal. So I kind of had a process, and one of my good friends, Eric Zilhart, who was my Q buddy, sat next to me at the office at Harrison, and who I've known for a very long time. I worked with him at Best Buy. I helped him get his job at Chase, and he's kind of my sounding board for things. And I was like, Eric, I really want to start this party business. And he goes, man, you should do that. I'm like, yeah, but man, you got your wife. She works at the bank. You have that extra help. You have a partner to help with the bills. I don't have that. I said, it's just me. He goes, yeah, but I've got kids too, and I've got to have all these things. So he's in his position where he needs to do his thing. He doesn't have the flexibility, but I did. So I guess where I'm going with that is I had a 3-step process for really finally pulling the trigger, and it's very simple. So this is for all the people that wake up in the morning on Monday and say, God damn it, I don't want to go do this job anymore. This is terrible. I'd really rather go do X. How do I go do X? So here's how you do X. This is how you live the life you want to live and do the things you want to do and it's called finding your passion. You find your passion, and then you'll never work a day in your life. I know it sounds trite, but it's true. So number 1, 3 steps. Step 1 is simple. It's find something you love to do, whatever that is. Find a thing that you just love to do, whatever that is. I don't care if it's walking dogs, if it's painting, if it's drawing, if it's working on your car, whatever that is. Find your passion. Find the thing that the time just is never enough time. It flies by and you wish you had more time to do that thing. Find that thing. That's the most important. That's the most important part, really. So find your passion. Step 2 is an extension of that. is to be the absolute best at that thing. Whatever that thing is that you love to do, you need to be hands down the guru at that. You need to be the best painter. You need to be the best dog walker. You need to know all the tools, all the things about your profession that if someone comes up to you.
So how do you be the best at that when you're working a full-time job? Do you put in the time to be the best before you quit, or do you quit and take that time to become the best?
It's both.
Okay.
I did both. So I was taking as much time as I could to grow my business, buying the equipment, getting the marketing going, all the marketing. There's so much involved with starting a business. People just don't know because it's just so many things. Insurance, logos,
there's a lot of things.
all the stuff that the partying, honestly, it's just 5 or 10% of my time. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people just don't understand, which I'd be more than happy to talk about in another podcast or personally. But the third part of that is the most difficult part, and it's the fear part, and it's the part where you really transition from doing something you have to do because you need the money to something that you want to do, and that's monetize it. You need to find a way to make money doing what you love to do that you're the best at. You need to monetize your thing. How do you do that? That's a hard part. That's turning a hobby into a career. That's the most difficult part.
Right.
Which is the part that took me several years to do.
That's where people get hung up. I can't make money.
I can't make
cats.
money. You probably could make money petting cats. I'd probably tell you how to do it.
Right.
It's the part that people they get afraid and they stop and they go, they throw it all away at that point. Oh, I'm going to go back to making widgets because I get paid enough money to pay my bills on the widgets. I'm miserable, but I got to make that money for the widgets. I'm never going to do the thing because I don't know how to monetize it. And that's where I personally am trying to focus more of my time in this world is helping people do those three things. And I have a couple of friends that I've helped in different stages of that. And they're making significant money doing the things they love to do. And that's what I'm trying to focus on right now on the separate thing. At first I put on Facebook, hey, who needs help this week doing a thing? Let me help you do a thing. I'll work with you at your company. I'll help with my time. I'll whatever you want, I'll do it for free. And nobody reacted to that. No one cared. No one's like, oh, well, just Mike's electrical party. What is, I have a business degree from NIU.
Right.
I've lived in Rockford my entire life. And for those of you who know me, I consider myself to be an intelligent person that cares. I give a fuck. And if you're in my circle and I hang out with you and I take the time to reach out to you and talk to you, then I care about you and I want you to be happy in your own way.
And I wouldn't take that as an insult towards yourself that no one responded. It might just be them not believing in themselves. I think it's more of that. I don't think it's them like, oh, Mike's not going to be able to help me. I think it's like, well, I wouldn't be able to. They defeated themselves before they reached out to you. That's what happened.
That's the conclusion I kind of came to is that people are just, they're just wrapped up in the 9 to 5, the A to B. I've got the kids and I've got the wife and I got to do these things. And that kind of comes full circle to me in my relationship with just myself being independent and doing my own thing. I've come to rely on myself as the sole provider for the things in my life. I've in the past, friends have lived with me and they've contributed monetarily to the program. And that was great. And, it wasn't not nice. It was nice. But for the most part, I've never had a girlfriend that has A, lived with me and or B, contributed financially in any manner to my life ever.
You've never had a girl live with you before?
No. One girl lived with me for a week and that was a fucking disaster. That's a whole level of drama.
I thought about getting roommates. I don't know if I'd enjoy it, but at the same time, I feed off of other people's energy, so it'd have to be the right roommates.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It was a different time in my life and I needed the money more at that time in my life because I did. And don't get me wrong, it is nice to have that cash flow, but really my independence now, walking around in my underwear, talking to the dog, I value that a lot,
Right.
And I'm not saying I wouldn't be open to having another person, live with me downstairs. In fact, I've got an ad on Craigslist, which is honestly there just as a shit show for me because it's nothing but prostitutes and scam artists left and right. And it just makes me smile.
Craigslist is a dirty place.
It's terrible.
Which I was thinking this weekend I was going to have an arcade party. We should post an open invitation on Craigslist.
Oh
so
my God.
anybody in Rockford, this is legit. Here's
God.
the address. come by. You have to leave your phone in your car because we're going to talk and we're going to party.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious. Does that capstone my my point there from why I do what I do? Basically, I basically get paid to party because that's what I love to do. But at the same time, that's progress. I've been doing this for 6 years now, and I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I've figured out a good formula for marketing and meeting potential clients and taking the right customers. There's many customers that I sit down and talk with, and we're just not a match, and it's just for any number of reasons, but we're not. So I pick the right customers because I'm able to do that. And I do about 40 events per year. I have a lot of repeat customers. I do several of the dances for a lot of local high schools, and that's great because that's just fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It's a lot of fun, and it's a big high five to me because I do a good job. I take it seriously. And I'm very proud of that. If you want to read my reviews on Google, I got 34 legit 5-star reviews that are actual clients have said the truth about me. So
and you get a reputation too. I mean, Rockford, everyone knows each other in Rockford.
It's a big small town.
People talk.
They do. Then they see me and they go, oh, there's that guy. And that's part of the reason I wear the same shirt, because it helps people remember me. And it's like, oh, he's wearing that same shirt again as he always is. So,
right.
So there's that. So I've kind of gotten to the point now where I'm asking myself, okay, great. 40-year-old Mike, he's cool. He's got this figured out. What's 50-year-old Mike going to do? What's 60-year-old Mike going to do? What's 70-year-old Mike? I'm trying not to get caught in a life trap.
Right.
Where I'm not marketable down the road and just, shit goes sour. So I'm trying to diversify what I do. And I think the next step is going to be something involving automotive. You guys know I love to work on my truck. I've gotten a lot of fabrication skills down. I do a lot of welding. And I'm thinking about starting another company sorted around building engines, building trucks, fabrication, and things of that nature. That's what I do with my time. That's the next thing I love to do. Is same 3 questions I'm asking myself.
It's a good exercise to go through, man.
Every time I look for a thing to do, I sometimes I forget the formula. So I have to stop and say, Mike, what do you love to do? Number 1, be the absolute best at it. Number 2, monetize it. So I'd love to work on my truck. I'm not the best at it, but man, I'm pretty good at working on shit.
And you can put the time in.
Put the time in and learn.
And as long as what you're making now is good enough to be a product, you don't necessarily have to be the best yet, but to make it marketable and make it a business, you're there with it.
Monetize it. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm already thinking of the marketing and the name and how to market it and all that. So that's where I'm at right now with what I'm doing. But at the same time, for any of you that are listening that know me, that are trying to take this step from being a wage slave to working for the man, you're never going to get rich doing that. You're always going to make less than you want to make. You're never going to be as happy as you possibly could be. If you are willing to take the time to sit down with me and really figure out what you want to do, I will be more than happy to sit with you and write up a business plan for you, get you started with your marketing, introduce you to people in your industry, and generally be your mentor to help you live the life that you want to live. So, and I mean that. So if you take the time to get a hold of me, however, text me, call me, Facebook, whatever, we can sit down and you can say, hey, Mike, here's the thing I'm thinking about doing. And I'm not going to charge you. I'm not going to make money off of you. I'm going to sit down with you. And I'm going to give you my honest opinion and my honest time. Give you my time to tell you what I think you should do. In my opinion, so you have to take it with a grain of salt because that's me. But I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to waste your time. And I'll tell if your idea is terrible, I'll tell you why your idea is terrible. And if it's not, I'll tell you why it's great. And if maybe there's a compromise.
So is this only to people, you're extending this to people you know in Rockford?
This is to people that I know.
Say, don't give your email address then.
No, we're not putting out the email address or anything like that. So there's enough people that I care about to help first than the random population. So if you're a Facebook friend, because I'm going to be putting this on Facebook. If you're a Facebook friend or your friend in general, and you've seen me and you know me long enough that if I say I'm going to do a thing, I do the thing. I'm honest. It's integrity. That's the thing I learned from the bank, that if you don't lie, and you don't have to keep track of your lies, it's just that much easier, and I'll tell you the truth. So I guess to wrap it up, that if you want to get out of being a wage slave and really try to figure out, if you need help figuring out what you really love to do, I'm be all about brainstorming with you. So come find me up, hit me up, and we'll see if we can get you out of being a corporate slave, I guess, if you will. But that's pretty much the deal with Rock Vegas events and the story of that.
That's awesome, man. I didn't know the whole backstory with the bank and everything, so that's good to know.
We're all on a spot we are today because of reasons, and that's the reason I'm where I'm at. So
I'm kind of sick of the normal daily grind.
Yeah.
I
Honestly, I'm surprised you still work for a company. I'm blown away that you still do that.
I get to engineer solutions to problems. My thing that I love to do and I'm the best at is computer systems, networking, all that stuff. So I do that. But ideally, if I had to plan out my day of I'm Greg and I want to do all my stuff without doing a 9 to 5, would be wake up, go work out, do the CrossFit thing, post nothing on social networking about CrossFit.
Doesn't count if you don't post. You weren't there.
I will absolutely post nothing. I'm surprised I brought up that word. Like I love to do that. That is great. I feel great shape. Do that, cook for myself, good meals, cook for friends, and then do consulting. My thing that I do now full time, do that as a consultant for 3 hours a day. That'd be fine. I want to get into making short films, making shorts, funny things, comedy kind of sketches. That stuff I like to do. I like the video production. I don't really have a lot of friends that are into that. And you kind of need more than just, I mean, I can do it myself, but I feed my comedy and everything else. I feed off other people. Yeah. If I did a freaking podcast by myself, I would not be funny at all. Like seriously, zero funny.
Yeah.
Because I feed off of other people's energy. And I think that's why, like, I don't know if you're with this. A lot of people are like good when they meet someone and they can just be themselves right away. I don't think I have that skill yet. And it comes down to the fact of I feed off of people's personalities and funny and whatever. But I don't know. I've never gotten to that point where it's got to be like 1 or 2 times hanging out with people to where I feel comfortable exposing the real me to them.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
No, that's totally normal. See,
okay.
You have to realize I was trained by the largest bank in the world to instantly connect with people.
Sure. I get that. And I know the cues and stuff, but I try not to make it too procedural when I meet people. Like I'm going to do this, this, and this. But at the same time, I don't know. I feed off of other people's energy. That's why I like the podcasting thing. I want to do the video stuff, consulting. That's my ideal day. So like work out and do all that stuff.
First couple of things that popped in my head is number one, you can be a personal trainer because you love to work out. So that's the thing.
I would enjoy that.
No, not so much. Cook. No. You be a chef?
Nope.
Don't want to do that?
No, I just want, those are things I enjoy doing. I don't want to monetize.
Don't want to monetize.
I think I could monetize eventually is doing the film stuff, but really that's just a creative outlet, right? Just like I want to learn to make music. I'm heavy into that right now. Every day I've been doing my beats and melodies and stuff. Just getting better at that. That's one. The film stuff's another one. And when I leave my full time, I'll transition into a consulting.
Okay.
Because I still have my company normally, so on the side. So, I mean, it's not that huge risk of leaving. It's just, that's why I still do the full-time thing.
I think, see, you're right where I was at with towards the end where I should have taken, honestly, I should have left the bank a lot sooner than I did. And one of my friends, Kelly, from Oscars, he was pushing me. He said, Mike, the right time is now. And I just didn't listen to him. I'd waited a couple more years and I finally did it and it was working. And he goes, see, I told you. I'm like, yeah, man, I should have left a couple of years ago. But walking away from that guaranteed cheddar, man, it's hard. I know firsthand it's hard to do.
So, I mean, that's for me, I'm fine just being motivated and doing all that stuff, because if I left and did everything full time like I want to do, I don't think I'd be as successful at it right away. I need to transition.
I think you need to give yourself more credit, Greg, honestly, because you're one of the smartest people I know. Honestly, swear to God,
is this going to be like Saturday night?
It might be. I've had a couple bad tequila yet,
dude. You're Elon Musk.
You got to figure out. I mean, come on, Elon Musk's a smart guy. I mean, why are you not as smart as Elon Musk?
I won't, knock on myself, but
let's shoot your car out of space.
No. First, I got to start my car company.
Oh my God. I think that once you really find out what you really are passionate about and what that is, then you'll start thinking about how to make money doing it. And then it'll be quicker than you think.
Yeah. And I'm not really worried about it. The problem I have now is I make my big list of all I want to do. And I get kind of just overwhelmed with, I want to do this, 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 and this. And I focus on one and I want to get it done. But then I don't get it all done in that day. Well, so the next day goes by.
That's everybody, bro.
I know. But the next day goes by and then I'm working and then I work out and I come home and I'm like, well, I'm just kind of tired. And that's that grind, right? You get tired. So
life,
let me do it this weekend. So then I'm delayed and things are slower. But really, I think I just need the energy of someone else who's motivated to remind me like, oh, hey, man, what are you working on? That kind of stuff. Yeah. That I will get the first thing done that I want to do.
And that's why I look forward to talking to you, because you motivate me. So also, too, your situation with your job is different than mine. Everyone's situation is different, obviously, than mine. I hated my job.
Oh, I like my job.
See, that's the difference. I
like the people.
That's different.
I like what I do. I have freedom to do what I want to do. Like, if I get all my stuff done, I can just research whatever I want.
See,
and that's what it used to be.
You're Greg. You're already doing it. Honestly, you're living. I call it the life of Riley, where you don't hate your job. So if you don't hate your job, that's cool, and you're making enough money.
So that's
why
I want to do it all, because that's one of the things that I enjoy doing, right? Because that's up to me. If I want to be complacent and lazy and say, well, I already set up all the SAN and networking and core infrastructure, blah blah blah. Well, now I'm just going to chill and look at cats and funny stuff on the internet. That's my fault. And then in 2 years, I'm like, well, I really deteriorated and my skill sucks now, and I'm just not with it anymore. Well, that's my fault.
That's your fault. I don't see it happening.
There's endless problems for me to solve there and improve. And, I can say, I want to get into this entirely different system. I want to get into freaking automation.
Yeah.
I can get into automation and PLCs and all that crazy stuff and programming robots. I could do that if I want to.
Yeah.
So that's up to me, and it's just me not to, and I won't get complacent because that's not who I am. Like, I'm not that personality type of just, I'm going to get lazy and do nothing. But that's why I think I'm happy in my current situation. Yeah. It's a compromise though, because I'm not fully going towards those other things. But my full-time job is one of those things. So I'm kind of like spread out between 4 or 5 things that I really want to do.
Well, maybe for you, it's picking one of the tertiary or the peripherals, one of those things, and spending all of your free time on that thing.
Yeah, and that's been music lately. So I have been doing it.
So there you go. See, the distinction I want to make is not that having a 9-to-5 salaried or wage job is bad. That's not what I want. That's not the point I want to get across. There's nothing wrong with having a job that you work for someone for and you get compensated.
You're in control of your life. So what you want to do is focus on things that you want to do.
That's it.
If your job's one of them, include it in your repertoire of all that stuff. I probably said that.
Repertoire. If you love what you do at work, and that's fine. You don't have to change it. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that if you hate your job, if you hate what you do, if you can't stand your coworkers, you can't stand your company,
you can't stand your girlfriend, get out of there.
Anything in life, if you hate it, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. That's the thing. And that's
the coolest thing about being an adult is you get to choose.
You get to choose.
You want to eat ice cream before bed? Do it.
Eat fucking ice cream. You're going to be a fatty, but so what? You ate some ice cream. Do it.
Order insulin. You have adult diabetes.
Do it. Just like Nike, and just do it. I mean, so many people that they're stuck in terrible relationships for whatever reason. They're just the wrong relationships.
You know what it is for a lot of people? My guess is they have crappy friends.
That is
people that are just very complacent. They talk about how crappy their job is, and you're like, "Yeah, man, I hate my job too. Let's meet up next Tuesday and do the same thing. Let's talk about how crappy our jobs are."
Company. When I was reading the online last night, I read an article about this talking about people that are alone, and one of the things on there said when asked if they had a significant friend, 25% of respondents said no. 25% of people had no significant friendships.
That's sad.
That's terribly sad. And I stopped and I'm like, how many people do I have significant friendships with? And I lost track.
Right, me too.
And I'm like, holy shit, I'm truly blessed. I have all these wonderful people in my life.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. And that's the thing too, is that there's only so much time in my day. So if I haven't reached out to you or to see you, it's just not because I don't care about you. It's just I'm just so busy trying to reach out and talk and care about everybody. And there's only so much time in my day. And I focused most of my time on people that reach out and contact me. And it's just fair. You know, I've got some friends that I just try to get a hold of and this, and they just they never respond.
Yeah, and it tapers off after a while.
It tapers off.
I have friends that I had my whole life, and then it's like, we're going to be best friends forever.
Nope.
And then it just tapers off.
There's not every year that goes by now as I get older, I actively remove people from my friends list in life. And for a variety of reasons.
Do you have a list of people that are important to you in your life?
It's not, well, I guess the list would be in my phone, I guess. That's,
I have a list in my phone.
It's like
too.
my favorites list and all that, and in my head too. So that's the thing, because they're toxic, they're negative.
That's a hard thing too. Cutting out negative people.
Cutting out negative. I don't need that.
It's a breakup. You have to go through a breakup.
I've given people time to change. I'm 40 now. And, some of the shit that was funny or amusing or able to deal with when you're 21 or tolerable at 30, I'm past that shit. We're 40. The people that take pleasure out of other people's pain and other people's sorrow, I don't need that in my life. That's terrible. So those people have to go away. The people that cause drama just to cause drama, that make up shit, I don't need that. Move on, do your thing.
You know what's great is being a positive person and having endless friends, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we're very similar that way. You decide the people that you want. You cut out toxic people.
Yeah.
So you eventually end up with a big group of awesome people that you can hang out anytime.
You do.
And compare that to what you said about most people don't have one close friend.
They don't know how to friend. They don't have a life. And
are they miserable? And is that why they don't have good friends for the most part? You think that's
it could be that's chicken and the egg kind of deal.
Because if they're really great people that are positive, but they just can't meet good people, just like me in this dating grind right now.
They seek out the same. That's the thing. And I heard an expression a few years ago that's really stuck to me, is that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Right.
And when I was younger, I was like, nah, man, I'm the smartest person in the room. That's obviously I want to be in that room because I'm the smartest guy.
The ego boost is the best.
Ego boost is great when you're 21, 22 and younger like that, because I'm the smart guy. But then you get older, you realize, man, that sucks. How am I supposed to grow? How am I supposed to learn a thing or, be better?
Autodidact. You teach yourself all the time.
I learn by doing. That's really how I do. And that's how I learned how to do all the shit in the truck. And how do you learn how to do that? Well, I did it. Well, how'd you do it? I got in there and I started turning wrenches. I
got a CNC machine. Well, how'd you learn how to do that? Well, you get the program and then you start learning.
Pushing buttons.
You watch other people on YouTube. And
YouTube's wonderful for video.
YouTube is wonderful.
That's a resource I didn't have when I was growing up, taking shit apart. Oh my God. I love taking shit apart. That's the thing.
I'm going to start another channel. I've talked about that before, the YouTube channel thing. But my channel right now is Arcade Impossible, arcadeimpossible.com. It's not really a big thing for me, but it was a fun thing. It's like this cool diary of things I used to do with the arcade. Well, I think a lot of people that don't know me very well will be like, man, arcades must be like what you do all the time. It must be like your main passion.
I thought it was for a while.
Right. It's not.
And then I realized that's just kind of a hobby.
It was a great hobby.
Yeah.
Obviously, it went a little overboard. Well, you say some people say overboard. I say I'm within balance.
You still got room down there for more machines.
I spaced out purchases. I got really good deals. It wasn't ridiculous.
It makes you happy.
Yeah. And the thing is, it doesn't make me happy for me. It makes me happy as a social thing to do with friends.
It makes me happy coming over and playing new fucking video games. That's great.
Dude, we were playing Tempest right before the podcast.
That was fun.
Awesome. Tempest is so good.
I brag about your shit. Like, I'm with my buddy's arcade. He's got a classic game arcade. What? Yeah. Legit.
It's crazy.
It's funny that you're able to do those things.
And that's just me being an adult doing what I want to do.
That's your beach. That's what I call that's your beach. So my beach is in the driveway, drinking Coors Light, slinging wrenches on the truck. That's my beach.
Right. But I never go down there. I forget that exists when I'm here in my house by myself.
Oh, shit.
I don't go down there and play. I mean, I try to a little bit, and it's fun, sure. But I have enough other stuff I want to do that's not on my radar ever. That's good, because there's other things you should be doing. Yeah, honestly. Exactly. I don't play games that much, and it's a social thing. That's what I like to do, is like with friends and people, social activities. Like that bar thing that I built down there, and hanging out with people and playing. I was actually talking with my buddy Matt the other night. I was like, I want to have a regular night where any friends are invited over. And I think we're going to do it like Thursday nights. Yeah. But any friends that want to come over between like 7:30 and 9:30. Yeah. That's open. We're going to stream some games on Twitch. Yeah. I can't find that Raider girl. We're going to buy that girl her mouse. Man, I can't find her. It's killing me. I don't know if she got that mouse or not. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there is Mike found out about Twitch. IRL streamers on Twitch. Greg introduced me to was organizing Twitch. Her game room. She had donations open so she could get a mouse for $60. She was at $25 last time I checked. She had all the games. She makes your arcade look like it doesn't even exist. She had like her walls were covered with video games. Right. That, and she was hot. So, there's that too. So I place a lot of value on activities and things that I can do in a group. as a social setting.
Sure.
Hot tub, amazing.
Hot tub.
I do that by myself all the time.
I do that by myself. I had a hot tub too. Fuck.
So good. Yeah, just stuff like that. I don't know. Board games and stuff.
We do game night quite a bit, honestly, and that's a lot of fun. We end up playing. What game we played
Dominion?
the most? We played Dominion once. We had 8 people. It's only a 4-person game, so it took forever. Well, it was a lot of fun though. We played the charades past the catchphrase. We played the shit out of that.
That's a great one. I got that. It's awesome.
We played that for 4 hours, man. It's fun. I'm really good at it.
That's how I found out my ex-girlfriend didn't know who Will Smith was.
Oh my God. You should be getting jiggy with it.
Still a thing that my friends bring up.
My God.
On the reg. She also didn't know what a cannon was.
A cannon?
Yeah.
Like a thing
so
that...
let's end the podcast with that. Thanks for
Fair enough.
Hanging out.
Oh my God. This is
sweet girl though.
This is Mike with Rock Vegas Events, our first podcast. I had a lot of fun, Greg.
Thanks for coming out, man. Later.
Here you go.